Welcome to another Volti Audio one-take video. How y'all doing? Good. Glad to hear it. I'm doing well, thank you. Been quite busy. By the way, I'm cheating. Today's not Saturday. What is today? Today's Monday. So I'm just 2 days past the last video. I figured while I had the living room all, out of sorts, that I ought to do another video. Also, yesterday, Sunday, I had plenty of time to work on the La Scalas, the AL5 La Scalas, with the VTK crossovers. I did a little bit of tuning, listening, and so I've got a good report for you today on the AL5s with VTK crossovers. All right. You all know about the Absolute Sound. We got a nice mention on the Absolute Sound website coverage of Capital Audio Fest 2025. Mr. Andrew Quint visited my room, spent some time there, put on some good music for him. And this is a quote from what he said, what he wrote about his visit to the Volti Audio room with the new Vittora speakers. He wrote, "Roberts led off with the tuba mirum from Mozart's Requiem, and both bass singer and solo trombone." I'm not sure it's a trombone. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Well, you know what? I'm gonna play it for you. You let me know in the comments if you think that's a trombone. He says, "So both the bass singer and the solo trombone were dimensionally represented with a strong sense of two columns of air produced by living, breathing people. The Vittoras were surprisingly light on their feet and totally free of horn colorations. The delicacy and detail you're hearing just doesn't jive with the substantial example of fine woodworking that stands before you." It's very nice, Andrew. Thank you very much for the kind words. We didn't get a lot of Capital Audio Fest coverage this year. I don't know why that is. It is becoming a big show, so it's hard for everybody to make it around to all the rooms. If you didn't make it to my room, you missed out. All right. Also, wanted to mention, I don't know if you know about Tone Audio Magazine online, and just very well put together magazine. Really nice photographs, really nice layout of everything, just very professionally done. Tone Audio put a review of the Raz in the latest issue. So if you go search for it, download it, have fun looking through it, and by all means, read the review of the Raz. It's an excellent review. Positive, of course, but more than that, the review itself, the content is it's interesting. I think you'll get something out of it. I highly recommend it. Jeff Dorgay. Thank you, Jeff Dorgay, for your efforts. Appreciate it. A lot of you keep asking me to design and build a smaller speaker than the Raz. Now, my first thought is always, come on. I mean, for crying out loud, if you're serious about listening to good music, smaller than the Raz, really? Come on, for crying out loud. But then on the other hand, the businessman in me says, well, uh, if that's what they want, give it to them. So here's the thing. Let me run this by you. So imagine a RAS speaker that sounds pretty much like a RAS, but is smaller, shorter probably, a little bigger than a Heresy speaker, but shorter, less obtrusive, I guess. And think about it from a manufacturing point of view, from my point of view. Would it be any cheaper to build than a RAS? If it's built the same way, right? If it's a plywood cabinet, which you want the Volti Audio plywood cabinet, you want the Volti Audio sound, you want the Volti Audio veneer work, you want our finish work, right? You want the nice grill on the front. You want me to pack it up in nice boxes. How's it going to be any cheaper? I mean, the plywood difference is, $14. the CNC cost difference is another $2.50. Let's see, 1 or 2 ounces less lacquer, a little bit less lacquer. You get where I'm going with this, right? I know a lot of you are smart enough to figure this out. I can't, it's going to be the same cost to build, virtually the same cost. So let me ask you a question. If I build a smaller speaker that is very much like the RAS, it won't have as deep bass, right? That's the one thing we're going to give up. A little bit deeper, we're going to give up some of the extension in the bass. What you get from this speaker is smaller size. If you really want smaller size, are you willing to spend the same $8,200 for a pair of smaller Volti Audio speakers that are like the RAS with a little bit less bass extension? Question mark. You willing to do it? Will you do it? I think there's an expectation. I think people expect that the smaller speaker is going to be less money. And yet, I won't be able to do it. You tell me, what do we give up? How do we do it? Go ahead, put it in the comments section. Let me know. I do have some ideas, okay? One thing for sure, I would not want to do what Klipsch is doing to build cheaper speakers, which is to still give you a veneered cabinet, not the highest quality cabinet we've already established this, and put cheap stuff in it. That's not going to happen. So how do I deliver to you a $5,000 version of the RAS that's smaller, tilted back just a little bit, right? With that same great sound quality that you want from a Volti Audio speaker. How do I do it? I have a few ideas. To be totally honest with you, I'm not all that thrilled about doing it. I'm just not. At my age and where I am in my career, I want to build something bigger and more interesting. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I mentioned this song from the Mozart Requiem called Tuba Mirum, and I play this a lot at the shows. I play this type of music here now. It was introduced to me earlier this year. A nice gentleman from Nashville came here to do a demo. He turned me on to this. I thought, wow, that's really great sounding. And so it's something that I do actually enjoy. I am going to play this song for you. Andrew Quint mentioned the bass singer and this solo instrument in the beginning, but man, wait till you hear the tenor come in. He just gives it to you. All right, here we go. Bear with me. sitting in the sweet spot. Don't spill the coffee. All right, you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to tell Cobuzz Connect to go back to what I had already chosen. Very nice, very nice. Missing a little bit of low end. And the high frequencies are a little bit strident, let's say. Mid-range, amazingly good. This is the VTK crossover. And this crossover is something I've been making for years. This is made for upgrading Klipsch K-horns and Klipsch Bell speakers. I make complete kits for upgrading these two specific speakers made by Klipsch, which includes the V-Track horn upgrade and new drivers, new wiring, new crossovers. All internals are replaced, and you get a significant increase in quality of sound from those iconic old speakers. And the Klipsch upgrades are what launched me into business. I've continued to build them all along, and still to this day we sell, I don't know, this year I think we probably sold 10 or so of these kits. And I've threatened to not make them anymore. They're just so time consuming. My energies really need to go to new speakers. Volti audio speakers. But man, there's so many of my customers that absolutely love these upgrades and what they do to their speakers, and it's hard for me to stop making them. The VTK crossover is a very flexible crossover. It's extremely high quality build with parts, really high quality parts, really simple design, designed more or less for a 400 hertz and 6,000 hertz crossover points. It's very flexible because you can change the output level of the mid-range and tweeter with resistors. The resistors are an LPAD configuration. If you don't know what LPAD means, it's just simply one of the resistors is in line on the positive side, and the other resistor takes the positive signal and shunts it to ground. And that's called an LPAD, and an LPAD would be used instead of a single resistor because it maintains a more linear response as you either lower, as you lower the output level of the driver. There's probably other reasons too. Like I said, I took some time yesterday, did some testing, and figured out what would be the right combination of resistors on this. Put this in this morning and turned these things on, and immediately, wow, what a difference having a high quality crossover makes in a Klipsch speaker. Here, I'm just going to come down here for a second. It's very dark in here, but I know I've shown this before, but for those of you who haven't seen it, that's a relatively cheap crossover that comes with the AL5 La Scala. And when you use higher quality parts, oh my goodness, it just the whole speaker relaxes and just becomes much more pleasant to listen to. I did test these. I tested them with the Klipsch crossovers, tested with the VTK. For some unknown reason, which is baffling to me, the high frequencies extend farther up with the VTK crossover. I'm sure somebody has an explanation for that. And there's just a little bit of a bump in the bass, and I mean a tiny bit. The measurements don't lie. It is what it is. That I could see maybe being from the much larger gauge inductor on the woofer. Anyway, I pretty much have the same balance Klipsch does. In the past, I've noticed Klipsch speakers very flat in the mid-range. On the AL5 at least, they have lowered the mid-range output for them pretty significantly. I followed suit, actually dropped it just a bit more, maybe 1 dB more in the mid-range than Klipsch does, and left the tweeter. I started out with the tweeter full tilt. To do that, you just hook up the tweeter to these screws up here, bypassing the LPAD, and you get full output to the tweeter. I decided today that it was better to lower that tweeter down. It's a little bit strident sounding. It does not extend very high, so it kind of ends up having it's not fair to say it's a peak, but I mean its highest point is 10 kilohertz. It's broad. It's not really a peak. It's a broad curve, if you will, upward curve in the response. But without that, the real highs above that, it doesn't balance out those frequencies very well, and you end up with a sound that's kind of hard, actually. Much better than the old Klipsch tweeters. Way, way better. But not at the level of the Volti Audio tweeters. Anyway, the mid-range on the VTK can be connected to one of these two screws. If you're connected to this screw, you are taking the signal right off the capacitor. So you have positive in, a capacitor directly to the driver. And that's just about as simple. That's just about as simple as a crossover for mid-range can be. By adding this inductor in, you hook to this screw here, you put this inductor into the filter circuit, and you are creating a bandpass, so you're just rolling off a bit of the high mid-range. And I tried it both ways. I liked them both. I liked this one better. I also like that better on the upgrades for the Volti Audio upgrades for Klipsch horns as well. I just think it sounds better to roll that top of the mid off a little bit. And we have first order filter on the woofer, so a single inductor, very high quality air core inductor. I think that's a 12 gauge. The tweeter filter is a second order. Very simple. A significant upgrade for AL5 La Scalas, or for any version of La Scala before AL5. And highly recommend it. Contact me by email, please, and I will set you up with a pair of those. They're about $1,000 for the pair, although prices are going to be going up on those first of the year, as it is with a lot of things. Not a huge price increase, but I do have to increase prices a little bit. We're getting hit on a lot of different things. CNC costs are up a little bit. Parts costs are still climbing. I do have tariffs I have to deal with. Please don't jump on the tariff thing in the comments section with political crap. Just leave that alone, or go somewhere else and talk about political stuff. Tariffs it's just a reality. It's something that a lot of people around the world have had to deal with, we've been lucky here in this country. We haven't had to deal with it, and I know it is affecting some people a lot, and I'm sorry about that. But I don't want comments in my comments section. I will actually take them out if you do that. All right, so I want to make an offer to one person. I want to send somebody who owns AL5 Klipsch La Scalas a pair of these crossovers. Not for free to keep, but for you to try out. The requirement is that you contact me by email. You give me your phone number. I want to have a phone conversation with you. I want to make sure that you're understanding what I'm looking for. I want you to do a video. I want you to make a video. It does not have to be a professionally produced video, because mine certainly aren't. But take your phone out. Talk about your experience of replacing the Klipsch La Scala crossovers with the Volti Audio VTK crossovers. I want ownership of the video. I want you to send it to me. I'm going to post it on my channel, and I want to let people know. It's one thing for me to talk about it, but I want others to know, that there is a significant difference with these crossovers when you use higher quality parts. And I think the person that does this is going to be blown away by the sound of these things. What a difference it makes in these speakers. It does beg the question, should Greg Roberts be concentrating on making Klipsch speakers better? Good question, eh? All right. I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that. I've been doing it for years. I continue to do it. So, yeah. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the AL5 versus AL6 La Scala. Have you guys heard? I know you've heard of, but have you heard AL6 La Scalas? Have you been to a showroom or a show and sat down from them and listened to them? Well, I have, and I have to say, first off, that I think what they've done with the AL6 La Scala. Let me just frame it for you. So basically, there's a couple of big changes. First off, the mid-range horn on the new AL6 La Scala is significantly smaller than the previous one in the AL5s. AL5 cross mid-range horn, is an actual mid-range horn. It is a real mid-range horn. The one they're using now is only that deep. It's just this tiny little thing. I don't call it a mid-range horn. To me, that's a waveguide. That is just a dispersion device in front of a driver. So you're hearing the driver, you're getting dispersion out of it. That's part of what horns do. That's not all that horns do. Horns do more than that. Horns actually shape the sound, and they help to reinforce a frequency range that is well below what you would get off just the driver itself. So the horn is acting as part of the sound of the mid-range is coming from the horn. Much, much less so with the AL6. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's both, actually. Why is it good? Well, what I heard when I heard the AL6, I heard something that had far fewer problems in the mid-range than I have heard from other Klipsch speakers. If you've heard people describe mid-range from Klipsch speakers as having a glare, or it being shouty, or being colored, or edgy, I would say none of those words would be used to describe the new mid-range in the AL6 La Scala. I think it's a significant improvement in that regard. The bad for me personally is that they have taken away part of the horn sound that I've become so familiar with from La Scalas, or any horn speaker that's a true horn speaker that has a real mid-range horn in it. And I miss that. When I sat and listened to that speaker, I missed that. I felt like I was listening to a hi-fi version of a Klipsch La Scala. And good and bad. Good and bad. Go check it out for yourself. You're immediately going to think, oh, well, that's nice. That doesn't have any of that, the horn issues that I've always associated with Klipsch speakers. I also want you to say to yourself, does it give me the same dynamic, effortless impact that I want from horns? For me, it's much less so. And I think that we're going to look back on this change that they've made to the La Scala and also the K-horn as being a point in time where the Klipsch horn sound changed, and not all for the better. Their approach is different than my approach would have been. My approach would have been, well, exactly what I've been doing for years, which is to build a real horn speaker. Don't abandon the horn. Don't make my horn smaller. I don't want to do less of a bad thing to make it better. I want to make a real horn that doesn't have those issues, that sounds like a real horn should sound without those issues. A good example is the Rival mid-range horn. The Voltaudio Rival has a real mid-range horn. It's just about the same size as the old horn in the AL5 is. A little bit different shape, but does not exhibit the same kind of edginess or shoutiness or pinch sound that you hear sometimes from the old Klipsch horns. And so that's an example of taking horn technology, mid-range horn technology and build quality up a step without abandoning the horn, without saying, well, let's just have less horn. You want less problems with the horn? Let's just have less horn. And that's what I see Klipsch doing. And I think it's too bad. I think it's really too bad. I would like to know what you think about it. Let me know. The other major change with AL6 La Scala is a 12-inch woofer instead of a 15. Klipsch La Scala has always had a 15. That's been these right here, 15-inch woofers, man. And I mean, I think we all can agree there's just something about 15-inch woofers that it just gives you that, it's cone area. It's just, and now we have less of it, don't we, in the La Scala? You know, very clever what Klipsch did. Very, very clever what Mr. Delgado did with the design of this. They did not want to change, obviously, the size of the cabinet. In fact, the cabinet, as far as I can tell, is exactly the same build, same parts, same everything that you see on the outside is the same, AL5 to AL6. But inside, all they had to do was change a couple little parts, right? Just change the front board that holds the woofer. They slid the woofer up a little bit, I think, and tucked in a couple ports down below, so they're porting into the horn. A patent was applied for by Klipsch for that. And I think it's very clever. It's extremely clever to do that. I think, because they're gaining an extra 10 hertz of extension out of it, which is very nice. That's a good thing. These need it, trust me. But they did give up some impact, didn't they? The 12 is just not going to hit the same way a 15 does. And it doesn't. I sat there and listened to these things and I thought, oh my goodness, aren't these polite sounding? And oh, they do extend down deeper. Isn't that nice? But where's the punch? Where's the impact? Where's the dynamic intensity? Where's the, where is it? It just was so much less of a horn speaker to me than these. These may have some issues. The new AL6, in my opinion, totally different sound, and not as satisfying to me. I think a lot of people are going to be satisfied. I think they're going to like it a lot, and I hope Klipsch sells a whole bunch of them. But from my point of view, that's not my approach. That's not how I'm going to do it. What would I do to the La Scala bass horn to make it better? Make it bigger. This is why they went to a 12. In order to have a 15 ported, the woofer chamber has to become bigger. So they would have had to change the entire design of the bass horn in order to do that. But by going to a 12, the woofer chamber size was sized good enough to be able to just add ports to it. Very, very simple, very clever way of doing it. My approach would be different. When I look at these La Scalas, they're so tiny. I mean, they're just so tiny and just these little boxes, it's so crude in there, the way they build these things. And they beg to be opened up. They beg to be, the throat opened up on it a bit and to allow that sound right off the slot to just breathe through into that throat, and then to widen out just a little bit and increase the size of it a little bit. It's a big thing anyway. I mean, this is not a little speaker, right? So what the heck? Just go just a little bit bigger, and let's do it the right way. Let's keep the 15. Can we just keep the 15 and port it? I think that's a great idea. I would not port into the horn, by the way. To me, the port would be much more effective if it's on the front of the speaker. Those ports are tuned pretty low. Those frequencies are naturally going to be a little bit slower coming out than other bass frequencies. So I think it makes a lot more sense to port from the front of the speaker against the floor and keep the horn intact with no port inside the horn. That would be my approach. Very clever what they did. I'm not putting it down. I think it's really neat. But my approach would be different. And I am thinking of building something like this. I've already done some design work with my designer, some CAD work, some sketch work, full scale sketch work, and I'm formulating some ideas for another horn speaker, something that's simpler to build, so that when I build a pair of them, they don't linger around here for months and take hundreds of hours to build. And, and something that doesn't cost 50 grand. So I'm working on it, thinking about it. The gears are turning, and we'll see what happens. I know so many of you want me to work on this little speaker. That's a big yawn for me. But a big horn speaker. All right, so what else have I got to talk to you about? Geez, I think that's it. Hang on a second. Yeah, I pretty much covered it. All right. Do y'all know who Chuck Yeager is? I read this quote the other day, and I just have to read this to you. If you don't know who Chuck Yeager is, you should go look it up. The guy's a badass, all right? Badass from a long time ago. In World War II, he was a pilot, and he once shot down 5 enemy planes in one mission. And apparently that's pretty rare. Anyway, his quote is this, and I leave you with this quote, and I want you to think about it. He says, "Unfortunately, many people do not consider fun an important item on their daily agenda. For me, that was always a high priority in whatever I was doing." And it is for me too. And I want you to have fun too. So trust your ears, have fun. I'll catch you on the next one, okay?